Welcome to Chapter Sleep, your sanctuary for peaceful nights and quiet journeys. Here, every story is a new destination designed to help you unwind and rest. Before we depart on tonight's journey, I'd love to know, where in the world are you joining us from? Please share it in the comments below. It's comforting to know we are traveling together from so many different places. If you find peace in our stories, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a gentle like on this video. Your support acts as the fuel for our journeys, helping us bring more quiet moments to dreamers around the world. Now it's time to let go. Find your most comfortable position, adjust your pillows, and close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath and leave the noise of the day behind. Let the rhythm of the story guide you gently into dreams.
The sun has already set by the time you arrive at the cottage. The sky is not quite dark yet. It holds that soft, deep blue that comes just after twilight, when the world seems to pause between day and night. You can hear the ocean before you see it, a gentle rhythm that sounds almost like breathing. The cottage sits at the edge of a small headland, weathered wood painted white many years ago, now softened by salt air and time. There's a light in the window, warm and golden, and as you walk closer along the sandy path, you notice how quiet everything has become. The tall grasses on either side of the path move slowly in the evening breeze, making a whispering sound that seems to welcome you. You're not expected, exactly, but somehow it feels as though this place has been waiting for you. The door opens easily, and inside, the air is warm. There's a fire burning low in the stone fireplace, and the room smells faintly of wood smoke and something else, perhaps tea, or old books, or the particular scent of a home that has stood beside the sea for a very long time. An old armchair sits near the fire, its cushions worn soft. You find yourself moving toward it naturally, the way water finds its course. As you settle into the chair, you feel the day beginning to lift from your shoulders. The fabric is soft against your skin, and the warmth from the fire reaches you in gentle waves. Through the window, you can see the lighthouse. It stands on the rocks, perhaps 100 yards from the cottage, a tall white tower that seems to grow directly from the stone itself. Every 30 seconds, its light sweeps across the water, a slow, steady pulse that has marked the rhythm of this place for longer than anyone can remember. You watch the light turn. It moves without hurry, illuminating the dark water for just a moment before continuing on its ancient path. 30 seconds, then again and again. There's something deeply comforting about its constancy, the way it asks nothing of you except perhaps to notice it, to let its rhythm become part of your own breathing. The fire shifts in the hearth, settling deeper into itself. A log breaks gently apart, sending up a small constellation of sparks that fade before they reach the chimney. You let your gaze rest on the flames for a while, watching how they move, never the same twice, yet always familiar. Orange and gold and deep amber, colors that seem to hold their own warmth even in the looking. Outside, the ocean continues its conversation with the shore. The waves are small tonight, arriving at the beach in long, slow intervals. You can hear them even through the walls of the cottage, a sound so constant that after a while, you stop hearing it as separate from the silence. It becomes part of the quiet itself, a texture in the stillness. There are photographs on the mantelpiece. You notice them without really studying them. Faded images in simple frames, faces from other times. A woman standing beside the lighthouse, squinting slightly in what must have been bright sunshine. A small boat pulled up on the beach. The cottage itself, photographed from the water, looking exactly as it does now, except perhaps the paint was fresher then. These images seem to belong to the room, the way the firelight does, or the worn rug beneath your feet. They're part of the story of this place. Though you don't need to know the details, it's enough to sense that many quiet evenings have passed here. Many fires have burned down to embers. Many times the lighthouse beam has turned and turned and turned. You let your eyes close for a moment. The warmth is pleasant on your face. Behind your eyelids, you can still see the afterimage of the firelight, a soft glow that gradually fades. Your breathing has begun to match the rhythm of the waves without you deciding to make it so. In as the water gathers, out as it slides back across the sand. In, out, in, out. When you open your eyes again, the room seems even softer than before. The corners have grown darker, but not in a way that feels heavy. The darkness is gentle here, pooling in the spaces between the firelight, like something comfortable and familiar. You notice a blanket folded over the arm of the chair. It's made of thick wool, the kind that has weight to it, that feels substantial when you draw it across your lap. The texture is slightly rough, honest and real, and it holds the warmth close. You arrange it loosely around yourself, not tucking it in, just letting it rest where it falls. The lighthouse beam passes again. Through the window, you watch it sweep across the water, touching the surface with light. Where the beam falls, the water brightens, just for that moment, showing you the texture of the waves, the foam at their edges, the way the sea is always moving. Then the light continues on, and the water returns to darkness, still moving, still breathing, but hidden now except in sound. You begin to wonder about the lighthouse keeper, whether someone still tends it, or whether it has become automatic, running on timers and electricity, needing no human hand. But somehow, that doesn't seem quite right. You imagine instead that someone does still live here, does still walk out to the tower each evening to check that everything is well, to clean the great lens, to stand for a moment in the lamp room and look out over the water. Perhaps it's the same person who lit this fire, who placed this blanket here, who left the cottage door unlocked, because in a place like this, there's no need for it to be otherwise. The wind has picked up slightly outside. You can hear it moving around the corners of the cottage, a low sound that rises and falls. It's not a cold wind. Even from inside, you can tell it carries the ocean's warmth, the gathered heat of the day now released back into the air. It moves through the beach grasses, bending them gently, then letting them rise again. There's a small table beside the chair, and on it sits a cup. You don't remember it being there before, but there it is, a simple ceramic mug, with a rim worn smooth by use. When you pick it up, it's warm in your hands. The steam rises from it in a thin spiral, and the scent is something herbal and mild. Chamomile perhaps, or lemon balm, or some combination of things that grow in coastal gardens, plants that know how to weather salt wind and still offer their leaves for comfort. You take a sip, the warmth spreads through you, gentle and easy. It tastes the way this room feels, simple, honest, quietly restorative. You hold the cup in both hands for a while, letting the heat soak into your palms, watching the surface of the liquid settle into stillness. The fire has burned lower now. The flames are smaller, more intimate, moving close to the remaining wood in quiet, intricate patterns. The heat it gives is less intense than before, but somehow deeper, as though it has learned to radiate warmth more efficiently, to ask less of the fuel and give more to the room. You find your thoughts beginning to drift, not in any urgent way, but softly, like clouds moving across a calm sky. A thought arrives, perhaps something from earlier in the day, or something you meant to remember, and you notice it, and then you watch it pass. Another thought comes. This one too drifts by. You're not holding on to anything, not working to think or not think. You're simply allowing the natural movement of the mind, watching it the way you might watch leaves floating on the surface of a slow stream. The lighthouse beam turns, again and again. That steady 30-second interval has become so familiar now that you can almost feel it coming, can sense the moment just before the light sweeps past the window. It's not something you have to count or track. Your body has found the rhythm of it, has matched something inside yourself to its turning. Outside, the waves continue their patient work. Each one arrives, spreads itself across the sand, then withdraws. Each one is slightly different, slightly taller, or quieter, or quicker than the last, but the pattern holds. The pattern has held here for thousands of years, long before the lighthouse was built, long before the cottage existed, long before anyone thought to live on this particular curve of coast. You realize that you've been sitting very still for quite some time. Your body has settled into the chair, the way water settles into sand, finding the perfect accommodation with the shape of things. There's no tension in your shoulders. Your hands rest easily in your lap, still holding the warm cup loosely. Your breathing is so slow and deep that you can feel it all the way down. Feel your lungs filling and emptying like the tide itself. The room seems to breathe with you. The firelight brightens slightly as you inhale, dims as you exhale. Or perhaps that's just the way your eyes perceive it, the way your attention moves in waves of its own. In and out, in and out. You notice that the quality of the darkness outside has changed. It's fuller now, more complete. The deep blue has given way to true night, and the stars have begun to appear. You can see them through the window, faint at first, then brighter as your eyes adjust. They seem very far away and very close at the same time, scattered across the sky in patterns that have guided sailors and comforted the lost and simply existed, night after night, whether anyone looked at them or not. The lighthouse beam passes, and for just that moment, it illuminates the sky as well as the water. You see the light cutting through the darkness, a clear, bright path that touches nothing and yet somehow makes everything visible. Then it moves on, and the stars remain, steady in their distances. You become aware of the sound of your own heartbeat. It's very gentle, very steady. You hadn't noticed it before, but now you can feel it, a soft pulse in your wrists, in your chest, in the quiet of your body. It seems to echo the rhythm of the waves, or perhaps the waves echo it, or perhaps all rhythms, when you follow them deeply enough, converge into the same fundamental pulse that moves through everything. The fire pops softly, a small sound, almost musical, then silence again, then the wind, then the waves, then silence. Sound and silence weaving together, neither one quite separating from the other. You let your gaze drift around the room again. Everything seems softer than before, edges blurred slightly by firelight and the lateness of the hour. The photographs on the mantel are harder to see now, faded into the general warmth of the room. The books on the shelf have become dark shapes, their titles invisible, but their presence still somehow comforting. There's a sense of time having loosened here. Not that it has stopped. You can still hear the waves measuring out their intervals, still see the lighthouse counting its slow 30 seconds. But the urgency has gone from it. Time here is more like a river than a clock, flowing at its own pace, carrying you gently along without asking where you need to be or when. You take another sip of tea. It has cooled slightly, but it's still warm enough, still comforting. The taste seems to change as it cools, revealing different notes. A hint of honey, perhaps, or the particular sweetness that comes from certain flowers. You don't need to identify it exactly. It's enough to notice it, to let it be what it is. Your eyelids have grown heavy, not uncomfortably so, but with a weight that feels natural and right. You let them close again. The firelight glows red through your closed eyes, a soft, living warmth that seems to fill the space behind your forehead. You can still hear everything. The ocean, the wind, the settling fire, but the sounds seem to come from a gentle distance now, as though you're listening from somewhere very safe and very still. The chair holds you the way the cottage holds the chair, the way the headland holds the cottage, the way the earth holds the headland, layer within layer of support, of patient bearing, of structures that have learned to accommodate the presence of life and weather and time. You can feel the blanket's weight across your legs, can feel the warmth of the cup still held loosely in your hands, can feel the cushion beneath you, the floor beneath that, the solid ground beneath everything. There's a deepness to this feeling, a sense of being held by something much larger than yourself, something that asks nothing in return except perhaps that you rest, that you allow yourself to be held. The lighthouse beam passes. You sense it even with your eyes closed. A slight brightening in the room, a change in the quality of the darkness. 30 seconds. Then again, the rhythm continues, will continue, whether you're watching or not, whether you're awake or asleep. Outside, the waves arrive and depart. The wind moves through the grasses. The stars burn steadily in their distances. The night deepens around the cottage, and within the cottage the fire burns lower, asking nothing of you, simply doing what fire does which is to give warmth and light, and then, eventually, to become ember and ash and memory. You feel yourself drifting now, not away from the room exactly, but deeper into it, deeper into the stillness that has been here all along, waiting patiently for you to notice it. Your breathing has become so slow that you're barely aware of it anymore. It happens by itself, the way the waves happen, the way the lighthouse beam turns. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to remember or plan or solve. The cottage holds all of that for you, takes it gently from your shoulders and sets it aside somewhere you don't need to see it. What remains is simpler than thought. The warmth of the fire, the sound of the ocean, the turning of the light. Your body has grown very heavy in the chair, but it's a good heaviness, the weight of deep relaxation, of muscles finally allowed to stop their holding. Your hands have loosened around the cup. Your face has softened. The small tensions you didn't even know you were carrying have begun to release, one by one, in their own time. The fire shifts again, settling deeper. The light in the room grows dimmer, softer, more amber than gold. Shadows pool in the corners, gentle and unhurried. The darkness is not an absence here. It's a presence of its own, a quietness that holds space for rest. You can hear your heartbeat still, or perhaps you're imagining it now, but it doesn't matter which. The sound is there, steady and slow, a rhythm that has been with you since before you were born. It will accompany you through this night and the next and all the nights to come. The lighthouse beam passes. The ocean breathes, the wind moves softly around the cottage walls, and you are here, held by all of it, part of this ancient conversation between light and water and stone. Your thoughts have almost stopped now. When one arises, it's faint, like a star appearing at the edge of vision. You notice it, and then it's gone, and then there's just the breathing again, just the warmth, just the slow turning of the light across the water. The room has grown very quiet, or perhaps the quiet was always there, and you're only now hearing it, now feeling it settle around you like the blanket across your lap. It's a living quiet, full of small sounds that somehow deepen the silence rather than breaking it. The tiny crackle of the fire, the whisper of wind under the door, the distant conversation of the waves. You sense that the night will be long, and that's all right. There's nowhere you need to be except here. Nothing you need to do except rest. The cottage will stand through the darkness. The lighthouse will continue its patient turning. The ocean will keep its rhythm. And you can simply let go now, can allow yourself to drift on these currents of warmth and sound and stillness. The fire is very low now. The flames have receded until they're barely there, just a soft glow at the heart of the embers. The wood has given almost all of its warmth to the room, has done its work, and now it rests in the slow transformation that will return it, eventually to ash and earth. You feel yourself going with it, not into ash, but into sleep, into that other country where the rules are different and time moves in circles, and everything that seemed solid becomes fluid and strange. But you're not there yet. You're still here, still aware of the chair beneath you, the blanket across your legs, the last threads of firelight painting the walls. The lighthouse beam passes. Perhaps you counted, or perhaps you've stopped counting. Perhaps the numbers have dissolved into pure rhythm, into the simple fact of light and dark, and light again. Your breathing has become almost imperceptible now. You're not doing it anymore. It's being done for you by whatever deep intelligence moves the lungs and beats the heart and keeps the blood flowing through its channels. You've surrendered to that intelligence, have let it take you, and in the surrender, there's a relief so profound, it feels almost like joy. The ocean continues, the wind continues, the night continues to deepen, and somewhere in all of that continuing, you begin to let go of the last small thing you were holding on to, the last thin thread of wakefulness. The cottage holds you, the chair holds you, the darkness holds you gently, the way a parent might hold a sleeping child, with absolute care and infinite patience. The lighthouse beam passes, and passes, and passes, and the fire burns low, and the stars shine, and the waves arrive and depart, and you drift now, floating on all of these rhythms, carried by them into sleep, into dreams, into the deep rest that has been waiting for you all along. The night is long and kind and full of soft sounds, and you are safe here. And the light keeps turning, and the ocean keeps breathing, and you can sleep now. You can sleep